Good morning. Today we are going to cover some questions of control coordination class 10th. These are very important for Neet also. What is coordination? Give one example. The working together of the various systems in our body to adjust the vital activities of life is called coordination. For example, nervous system receives information from the surroundings, then passes to the brain through spinal cord, and brain sends information to the target area, and along with the endocrine system, nervous system together act in this control and coordination. How does chemical coordination takes place in animals? Chemical coordination takes place in the animals with the help of chemical messengers called hormones. Hormones are the fluids which are secreted by endocrine glands. Endocrine glands are also called as ductless glands, and these hormones are in chemical nature, fluid in nature, secreted by specific glands. Those glands are called endocrine glands, and they regulate the growth, development, and maintains homeostasis condition in our body. Homeostasis condition at normal temperature, when all the body activities work in the regular pattern, then the body will be under homeostasis condition. Next question: how endocrine glands do help to in maintaining feedback control? The timings, the amount of hormones released are regulated by feedback mechanism. For example, glucose level in the blood is maintained constant. The blood glucose levels may be maintained constantly by either of the following feedback mechanisms. Those are: high glucose levels in the blood induces the pancreatic cells to produce insulin, which converts glucose into glycogen. That means glucose level in the blood is maintained by insulin, which is secreted by pancreatic gland. And also, this less glucose level in the blood do not induce the pancreatic cells to produce insulin, so that less conversion of glucose into glycogen may occur. Even glucagon is another component secreted by pancreatic cells to control glucose metabolism. Next question: what is the difference between reflex action and walking? Reflex actions are involuntary in nature. It will occur in response to stimuli without involvement of brain. That means without involvement of conscious areas of brain, reflex actions are sudden, involuntary responses which does not involve thinking. For example, when we touch a hot object, we withdraw our hand immediately without thinking. The sensory nerves that detect the heat from the receptors in the skin are connected to the nerves that move the muscles of the hand. And all the reflexes actions are unconscious actions. On the other hand, voluntary actions are the those which are under our control, and these are all under the control of cerebellum. You know that the brain consists of three main parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata, and this is an acquired character, walking, and it is learned in our lifetime, and walking is controlled by brain as it is used whenever it is required. Next question: reflex arcs continue to be more efficient for quick responses. True. These are automatically happening things and spontaneous responses to the stimulus. The pathway taken by nerve impulses and responses in a reflex action is called reflex arc. It consists of receptor, sensory nerves, those are afferent nerves, and spinal cord. Motor nerves are also called as efferent nerves, and effector muscles or glands. That means this reflex arc enables the body to give quick responses to protect the body from harmful damage of the muscle tissues. And so this will reduce the damage of the body muscles, and it also prevents overloading of the brain, so that it will prevent its fatigue. Next question: what happens at the synapse between two neurons? This you might have learned the structure of neuron, children. It consists of cell body, dendrites, axon, and nerve ending. That's a synaptic region, and this nerve ending is connected to different nerves to pass the information which is received from the environment. So the places where neurons connect and communicate with each other are called synapses, and each neuron has a is connected to more than 100 to thousands of synaptic connections, and these connections can be itself neighboring neurons, send information to the neighboring neurons or in the region of to the region of the brain. So it will send between the synapse of two neurons. What happens? Electrical signals are passed and which will be converted into chemicals, then easily cross over the gap and pass on the chemical messengers to the next neuron, where it is converted again into electrical signal. The neurotransmitter which passes information from one neuron to another neuron, it's a chemical that is called acetylcholine. It's a neurotransmitter, very important NEET question. And which part of the brain maintains posture and equilibrium of the body? Cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata, you know that. So cerebellum is the part which is very much important for and responsible for control the motor functioning. Hence it is the part which will help in the maintenance of the posture and equilibrium of the body. How do we detect the smell of an agarbatti, incense stick? And when agarbatti burns, it produces nice pleasant smell, which is detected by the olfactory receptors present inside the nose. Okay, the action of smell generates electrical impulse, and these impulses are carried to the sensory areas of the brain, that is in the forebrain, that is the cerebrum, and thus we detect a smell of agarbatti. Children, all information from the environment is detected by the specialized tips of the nerve cells. These receptors are usually located in our sense organs. You know, there are 5 sense organs of our body: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. And so these are all those are all such as inner ear are auditory receptors, and nose olfactory receptors, eyes photoreceptors, tongue gustatory receptors, skin thermoreceptors, and so on. So gustatory receptors will detect the taste and olfactory receptors will detect the smell. Next question: which signals we get disrupted in case of a spinal cord injury? In case of spinal cord injury, if anything happens, any accident occur when we fall and all, if any spinal cord is injured, the signals coming from the receptors as well as the signals sent to the effectors will be disrupted. That means the sensory nerves also can receive the information, but as the spinal cord is injured, it cannot pass the information to the brain. Secondly, if the brain, whatever it receives, cannot send to the target area through the motor neurons, because those also have to pass through the spinal cord, it will be disrupted. So why is the use of iodized salt advisable? You know that, children, it is written in the packets of salt, iodized salt. You might have observed that. Use of iodized salt is much advisable because which will help in the maintenance of iodine in the body, which will avoid the deficiency of iodine. If the intake of iodine is low, it will release less quantity of thyroxine, which is secreted by thyroid gland. So this affects our fat, carbohydrate, and protein metabolism. Deficiency causes goiter, cretinism, and myxoedema. Next question: a person suffered with head injury, due to which he faces breathing problem. No problem was detected with the respiratory system. What could be the cause of this problem? As the problem is caused due to head injury, it could be related to pons, a part of hindbrain responsible for regulation of respiration. Respiratory centers are present in medulla oblongata, so that will be affected. So as it is a head injury, it might be the reason for breathing problem. Okay, next question. In a family, a normal sized members, there are two exceptions. One is very tall and one is very short. What could be the reason for that? In case of dwarf, that means short, there is a deficiency of growth hormone from the pituitary gland, and in the case of giants, tall people, excess of growth hormone is produced. Growth hormones are produced in the pituitary gland, which is the master gland which will control even all the other glands of our body. Why do you blink your eyes as bright light is focused on you? We blink our eyes in order to protect the eye from the bright light. We blink. That would reduce the damage of retina. Next, what is the function of cranium? It's the bony structure, and it's also called as brain box. Protect the brain from mechanical injury. And vertebral column, major function of the vertebral column is the protection of spinal cord and carries the weight of the upper body. You know that spinal cord is located inside the vertebral column. So it is a very soft in nature, made up of neurons. So it should be under protection. Next one, let's see in the plants what happens. How is control coordination between environment and plants brought about? Plants do not have nervous system. Excellent nervous system is present in our body. So we receive it and passes to brain, and of course it will reach the target area, so that there is no problem in animals. But in the plants, they do not have nervous system for control coordination like animals, but they do response to external stimulus like touch, light, chemicals, water, soil, etc. Plants' responses mainly of two types: growth dependent and growth independent response. Some are growth dependent responses and some are growth independent responses. Growth independent response are because of change in the amount of water. That means growth dependent responses due to cell division. Once a cell divides, the response, otherwise maybe the external stimuli like water, soil and all, that is growth dependent. Okay, based on their action, plant hormones are categorized into two. Those are plant growth promoters and plant growth inhibitors. Promoters, we know that plants have to grow, reproduce and all. Where they have to inhibit. Even some hormones are secreted in the plants to inhibit the growth, because when the plant is ready for the fertilization, ready for the reproduction, and the leaves or plants or shoot which is growing have to stop its growth and convert. That means shoot system is converted into, shoot tissue is converted into floral tissue, so that it will continue its reproduction. What are phytohormones and name them? Phytohormones are special chemical compounds released by different parts of the plant, and they help to coordinate. Growth, development, and response to the environment. They are synthesized at site away from the target area, and they will diffuse and reach the target area. That means source is different, sink is different, production is different, its action is in different parts. There are 5 major hormones. Main hormones are there in the plants: auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid and ethylene. I repeat, auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid and ethylene. What are the functions of these hormones? Auxins promote cell growth and differentiation, especially on the tips of the plants. It controls plants' response to light. Okay, it helps in grow and differentiate. And gibberellins help in the breaking of dormancy in seeds and buds. It can be used in the production of seedless fruits. Children, gibberellins helps in breaking of dormancy. Dormancy condition is the condition when the seeds get into the sleeping mode. That means what we are eating are the sleeping dormancy seeds, sleeping mode. When the surroundings are favorable, it will start its life, start growing again. So that break take place in the presence of gibberellins, and gibberellins also used to produce seedless fruits like grapes and all. Next, cytokinins promote cell division and lateral growth in the plant, and it helps in the rapid division of seeds and fruits. Here coordination is there, children. In the presence of all these hormones, the functions will go on perfectly in the body of the plant. So, cytokine promotes the cell division and lateral growth in the plant and helps in the rapid division of seeds and fruits. So, you might have seen growing of the seeds in size also. Okay, next, abscisic acid promotes dormancy in seeds and buds. Promotes dormancy is the inhibitory character. Growth is stopped, getting into the sleeping mode. So that is promoted by abscisic acid, and it promotes wilting, falling of leaves. Children, after the leaves reach aging, those have to fall off. You might have seen leaf falling seasons. This occur due to the presence of abscisic acid, and this is also called a stress hormone. Ethylene promotes fruit ripening. Children, nowadays you can see mangoes and all, and ripened fruits are done in the presence of ethylene. Next question, how does phototrophism occur in plants? This, you might have seen the experiment of that pot one. Take a pot and place it near the window, indoor plant, and place it near the window. You will see that plant's leaves turn towards the window wherever the light is available. This occurs. This is called as phototrophism due to increase in oxygen on the dark side. It will happen in the dark side, so tip move towards the sunlight and decrease the oxygen on the illuminated side. So because of the presence of more oxygen, leaf in the dark side grows faster, causing it to bend towards the light, source of light. Next question, how does a touch me not plant respond to touching? What is this movement called? Touch me not folds its leaflets on touching. You might have observed this. This type of movement is called a growth independent movement. The movement of plant due to touch is known as thigmotrophic movement. Thigmotrophic movement. Good question for Neet and 10th also. Thigmotrophism is the directional movement, growth movement, which occurs as a response to the touch stimulus, the sensory response to touch stimulus. For example, once a shoot touches a suitable support, it grows towards the surface of its touching. How following is affected in plants by various hormones? Hormones like auxin, cytokinin promotes female flowers, whereas gibberellin promotes male flowers. Very important Neat questions. Ethylene promotes flowering in some plants like pineapple, and phytohormones, all these hormones and duration of light also induce flowering in long day plants and short day plants also. Name two activities which are regulated by plant pigments. Pigments are the colorful components. Chlorophyll is a pigment. Okay, some specialized pigments, those are phytochromes, are responsible for the response of photoperiodic stimulus. Long day, short day, these are all depends on this that means photochromes. So you will learn in higher classes. And control coordination in plants with its environment is regulated by phytochromes and phytohormones together. Okay, And why is abscisic acid as stress hormone in plants? Abscisic acid is a plant hormone which inhibit the growth. I discussed already. It affects wilting of the leaves also. Why do male and female human beings look different? Due to production of different secondary sexual characters, and of course major is the genes X and X are present in the female, X and Y are present in the males, so that shows major difference. Apart from that, secondary sexual characters under the influence of the different sex hormones formed by gonads led to estrogen by ovaries and androgen by testis production. This is for today's episode. Thank you.